He wondered why instead of Yuriam, Lady Sohi always come to his mind. In the past, Dalos showed a lizard to Sohi and she finds it cute. She said she also want to catch one, so Dalos took her to the river behind the valley. Sohi was trying her best to catch one, but it keeps getting away from her hand. And then she slipped and falls into the river. She remembered how she fell into the river while chasing a lizard, and Dalos saved her without thinking about his own safety. At present, she was holding a lizard made out of wood, which was given to her by Dalos, as she wasn't able to catch one at that time. And as Dalos was doing his stuff, he noticed someone behind him. And when he turned back, he gets shocked to see the little girl on her dog. He quickly wear his pant and the girl asked what was he doing. Dalos replied he was just scratching it, as during the summer heat, men scratch their balls much more. She then tells him that Lady Sohi is looking for him, so he needs to hurry up and go. So he was thinking that she must tell him to get into a real relationship, but not with her. After a while, Dalos arrived, so she tells him to enter the room. She gathered her courage, but still, she was unable to say those things to Dalos. She then started crying, so Dalos grabbed her and asked if he has done anything to upset her. So he hugs him and said she doesn't want to lose him, while thinking because she loved him. Dalos also hugged her and thought it's like a dream come true, as he can't believe that he is holding his lady. Suddenly, he distanced herself from her as his Excalibur touched Sohi after getting excited. So he asked him if he thinks about her every day and revealed that she accidentally saw him doing that in the middle of the forest while calling her name. Dalos bowed in front of her and apologized for committing a serious crime. But she holds him and said that it actually made her happy knowing that he likes her that much. She then asked, when it gets big, does he need to use his hand to calm it down? And he replied yes. She said the servants don't have their own room, so it must have been difficult hiding it all this time. She then ordered him to do it in her room, as no one can enter her room without her permission. She said she will wait outside for him so he can take his time. Dalos was hesitant to do it, but she ordered him to follow her command. After a while, she was outside and was hearing some strange sounds. She wondered if he is doing that in her bed and if he is thinking about her again. Suddenly, someone kicked the door while saying, "Why does her comb keep disappearing?" So he gets worried because she forgot that there is one person who can enter without her permission. It was Suram, who tells Sohi to step aside as she wants to pick one of her combs that she likes. At the same time, Dalos was busy with his work while thinking about his master. He heard Suram's voice and thought, now that Lady Suram lost her comb again, she would not listen to anyone, and will enter Lady Sohi's room to take one. He fell into despair after realizing just what kind of situation he is in. Outside the room, Sohi was trying her best to stop Suram from entering, but Suram pushed her away and opened the door. Inside, she finds Dalos, who was half naked and was trying to dress up. She then quickly shut the door and tells Sohi that she can do it with any guy that she likes. Sohi tried to clear up the misunderstanding, but Suram tells her to not worry and said she won't tell anyone. After Suram left, Sohi was shivering and crying while saying she hates her. She then apologized to Dalos, who was thinking that he is going to die tonight. But Sohi tells him to not worry, as her sister is not that kind of person. After a while, Suram was thinking that Sohi pretends to be innocent, but then she does this kind of things. She wondered when did she start sleeping with Dalos. She was training while thinking that she had her marriage planned since forever and still she hasn't done that act. She then thinks about Dalos and wondered how can a slave have a body like that. She trains hard in frustration while shouting, "Get out of my head, you bastard." The next day, Dalos was thinking about Yuriam, that what happened yesterday felt so good. He wondered how should he apologize to Yuriam, and then he noticed her coming from behind. He said her name, but she tells him to not talk with her. Dalos thought this is the first time he saw Yuriam this angry. At the same time, so he was thinking about last night, and when she was in Dalos's arms, it felt so comfortable. She shook her head, thinking when the time comes, Dalos will find a good partner, so until then, she will have to take good care of him. She then heard Yuriam's voice, saying she brought what she asked for. After a while, she was brushing Sohi's hair, and Sohi asked her, how is Dalos's reputation among the servants? Yuriam replied, he is stupid and thoughtless, and really frustrated at times, but still, he is strong and reliable. Yuriam then asked Sohi if she likes Dalos. Sohi hesitated for a second and then revealed that she liked Dalos, which shocked Yuriam. At the same time, Hono introduced the girl to the madam and said she will work as a gabai for them. Madam said servants living alone have more freedom, and it's easier for them to gather money, so why does she want to move into the Hingre? The girl replied it's because she heard that there is a shortage of servants these days, so madam praised her for being thoughtful. Hono said this girl resembles her mother a lot, and her culinary skills are also excellent, so she would be a great addition to help out in the tea room. The girl then introduced herself, and she is Yon, the widow's daughter. After a while, Hono said that her mother is not the type of person who would send her daughter to work there, so what happened at home? Leon said that she kept begging her mother to let her stay in the Hingre, but she didn't want to give her permission, and so she just snuck out while she was asleep, which shocked Hono. But he agreed that no parent should treat their child as her mother did, so she can stay there and learn from her seniors. Actually, the real reason for Yon to come there was to meet Hyung. Hono was looking at her while thinking she couldn't even talk back to her mother, and yet she ran away from home, so it's not looking too good. After a while, Hyung went to meet Lady Sohee as he wanted to talk to her. At the same time, Yon also arrived there and saw Hyung. She heard him saying that he is already 25 years old, so he would like to marry by the end of summer. Yon gets surprised to hear that and thought Hyung is a responsible person as he hasn't forgotten the promise to marry her. But to her surprise, Hyung asked permission to have a wedding with a girl named Yuriam. She froze in her place and wondered who this girl Yuriam is. She then ran from there and starts crying while thinking that Hyung claimed that he would be responsible for her sake, but in reality, he is just dog shit. Meanwhile, Sohee said that she thinks of him and Yuriam as a family, which has come a long way since their close childhood days. And to think that this unprecedented event has taken place, she is overwhelmed with happiness. She said she will inform her mother so they can have a wedding before this happiness ends. After a while, all the servants were waiting for the food to arrive. Hyung was smirking, thinking he has been worrying over Dalos for the last few days, but it's dissipated for now. As long as he set the wedding date for his wife, it can't be changed or delayed, so Yuriam will become his wife. The food got served and the little girl asked why everything delicious is in front of Hyung. He then noticed that his serving was larger than the others, so he looked at the maid. But then he gets shocked to see Yon, who said he can have a nice sleep tonight. Hyung shockingly asked what is she doing there, and Yon replied that she is there to see his dear Hyung. Yuriam and Dalos were looking at the scene with disbelief. Yon then looked at Yuriam in anger and asked if she is the girl called Yuriam. Angered by her attitude, Yuriam said so what if she is, and who exactly is she? Yon was scared, but thought that she shouldn't be pushed back in a fight. She gathered her courage and said she is the girl who is going to marry Hyung. Yuriam claps for them and said they get along so well, so be sure to bow down at the wedding. The other servants congratulates Hyung for getting such a nice girl and called him lucky. Hyung realized that he will have to get married to Yuriam before this mess gets any bigger. Then, in the afternoon, Dalos and Hyung returned after collecting the woods, while Yuriam was drying clothes. Suddenly, Yon came running to Hyung and said it's too hot outside, so he should have some sikhai. Yuriam looked at the scene and thought why Dalos is looking so pitiful. Yon then intentionally hit Yuriam's shoulder while going back and thought she has to win the battle of nerves, and she is doing a good job. Then the next morning, Dalos was sleeping inside the mill without his clothes, unaware Yon and the other maid is coming there. They entered the mill and get shocked to see Dalos, who was sleeping without clothes. The maid said sleeping in the corner of this cramped place must have been very hot. She then signaled Yon to stay quiet and not wake him up. She looked at his Excalibur and said, when did this guy get so big? And even though he is stupid, but he's got a great looking body. Even Yon peeked at his sword and thought it's her first time seeing that since she was born. They then heard him saying Yuriam's name, and then his sword starts rising. The woman shockingly said, what kind of man's thing grows endlessly as it's twice as big as before? Yon looked at it and thought that according to what she heard, it can grow up to the size of a hand, but it's bigger and thicker than a ripe eggplant. The maid then said, it's enough fooling around, so it's time to stop this wake-up act. She pinched his ear and shouts in it to wake him up. Dalos woke up and the maid asked, what did he dream of with Yuriam that made him like this? He then quickly apologized and ran from there. After he left, the maid asked Yon if that's the first time she has seen a naked man, and she replied yes, and that she never expected it to be that huge. After a while, Yuriam was thinking that she barely escaped in the nick of time, but Dalos is going to be chided by Chunya. Suddenly, Dalos came running to her and said she should have woken him up, and Yuriam explained that she tried her best, but he didn't wake up on time. She then gets shocked to know that Yon was also with Chunya, and they both saw him in that condition. He then pinched her cheek and said she is mean, as she ditched him and ran alone. And then he starts kissing her, and she muttered, "What if someone saw them?" At the same time, Sohee was looking for Dalos, as he was not present there. She was feeling bad about her sister's actions yesterday, so she wanted to apologize to him. She then heard some sounds from the inside and wondered what that is. She went close and gets shocked to hear Dalos and Yuriam calling each other names while kissing. She quickly ran from there while thinking Yuriam wasn't like that with Dalos. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe and press the bell icon so you don't miss the updates.